Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Koalition Gaming, where today we're going to share our thoughts on WWE 2K24 and what we know so far. So, I am your host, Richard Bailey Jr., editor-in-chief here at thecoalition.com, and I'm joined by our senior editor, Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
It's going great. I'm hyped. This is the butter game. I can't wait. No. Don't, no, you're not going to hear any of that, but I got some thoughts.
Yes, we both have some thoughts. One thing I will tell you, Adam already knows this. This is actually one of my most played games on Xbox last year. I think over 200 hours.
Yeah,
when I looked
man.
Yeah, because they got me to keep coming back to that GM mode. So clearly, I thought, definitely have to talk about this game because
I see you on your universe mode 4 times with Pat McAfee. What's this all about?
No. Hey, that is definitely no, absolutely not. That's
favorite mode, favorite character. You were killing
it. No way. But no, we definitely want to talk about the game because there's obviously been a lot of news. I will start off by saying we got the cover reveal last week, and I actually was at that Monday Night Raw when they revealed it. And of course, we already knew that Roman Reigns was going to be on the cover. So that was quite an interesting experience. I still think that the NXT show I went to the night after was better than Monday Night Raw. But hey, listen, it was a great moment to see that cover reveal. So on that note, I definitely want to
see, because I was texting with you. Were you able to see like from the angle behind it? Because I was like, man, it was there for a while. I was expecting it just to do a drop, a reveal, go to commercial, you come back, it's gone. No, it stayed for a while. So were you able to see it? You had a good view like through the screen?
I didn't have a straight on view of it. I saw it from the side because I had floor seats.
Nice.
But I did see them setting it up. I did see when Drew McIntyre came out and confronted Paul Heyman. So the seats themselves were pretty good. They were actually really good. I think the NXT seats I had, those were the best NXT seats I've had at any wrestling event. So I will definitely try and see if I can eventually find even better seats for Raw. But the show itself was pretty good, but to see the cover reveal, that was pretty cool. And it made me more curious to hear more details about the game. So I want to start out by saying, obviously, today, a lot of people went to the Royal Rumble this past weekend. They got hands-on time with the game, and we've actually seen a lot of the preview videos out. We definitely are planning to cover this game extensively in the future on the channel and the website, so definitely stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I just wanted to start off, and I want to come to you first, Adam, and get your initial thoughts on some of the preview footage that you saw today, and whether or not some stuff that you liked and didn't like about what you saw today so far on as far as WWE 2K25 is concerned.
It looks good. It's one of those weird situations because we know the hot mess that 2K20 was. And then we waited for the next game. They took a year off. Then they came back swinging, right? Solid 23, 24. We're like, yes, this is great. There were some little things here and there, but pretty much they answered a lot of fans' questions and demands when it comes to certain things. We got war games, right? That was a big deal. People wanted that casket match. We got that ambulance match. We got the ability to throw weapons. We got over the top recent iterations, things have been building and growing for the better. So when we take a look at this game, I'm assuming that most fans of the series are not expecting a whole new version, a whole new build. It's like, oh no, look, now it's got a whole new art style. We went superstar mode. You know what I mean? No, we're not expecting it, but I know it has to be for most people. We're looking for the wow factor. We're looking for something wow. The big one before was with the war games, adding that. That was like, whoa, here we go, 2 cages. This is that. But then I don't want to be too judgmental because I don't really see the wow factor here. But then again, what can they add to wow? We've talked about before. What the fight pit? Now they haven't revealed all the modes, so we don't know. They could be whatever. But when I'm thinking is what is missing. We got the Hell in Cell, we got Cage. I mean, yeah, maybe they're promoting the Undertaker and all that stuff. They said we were going to get some old stuff come back. We'll talk about that later about the brawls and all the backstage areas. But I was thinking maybe Buried Alive, maybe a cleaned up version of that would be kind of cool, because at this point, that's what we're looking at, right? Gimmick matches. If they're going to add more modes, because they got all the big ones, the Elimination Chamber, all the Rumbles. I mean, I don't see much missing. So when I'm looking at this, when shout out to IGN, because they had that video up or first, and it talked about all the in-depths and stuff. So great feature there. It just seems like more of the same. Yeah, we found out they brought back some stuff. Like we got the chain wrestling. All right, whatever. You know, the blows for blows type of thing that it was introduced last year. I turned it off. I'm not a fan of that. I was like, yeah, I mean, there's some things that I'm sure other gamers besides myself do. Is when we boot up this game, we go into settings, and the first thing we do is turn blood on, because that's always off. You know, and I turn off all the music also, and I just put the entrance songs as my background, because I just prefer that. You know, I want the whole game experience, and to me, I'd rather hear entrance songs than some random songs that have nothing to do with the wrestling. So that was cool. What was it? We got that wheel. The submission wheel is back. I enjoy that, chasing around and stuff. That's better than the little bar. I really didn't like what we had when it just came to the little bar back and forth for submission. So I'm all cool with this, bringing this back. And everything else looks, I mean, we'll get into more stuff, but overall, I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing, because I didn't expect, like I mentioned, something revolutionary, new dimension. We already got that. This is it. We're here. So now let's just keep redefining, keep polishing, adding some things. Do have some issues, and I said it to you in chat. This Jey Uso entrance, gotta go. Not gonna cut it. Not gonna cut it. And it's not just for me. I'm open. I'm not that big of a fan. I'm proud of the guy. I'm no doubt hard worker, great. But he's a top guy now, whether you like it or not, he is. Dude's a top guy on the show. But man, he's got one of the best entrances right now, right? Comes from the crowd, day one, he's doing the whole thing. The crowd's chanting, he's doing all that. That needs to be in this game.
Yeah.
Has to be in the game.
Yeah.
And when they show that intro and they just show him coming up the ramp, it's like, no. That's not it. That's not going to work. I'm sorry. They're going to have to hit back at the drawing board and figure something out. Or I have a feeling, if anything, if they do work something out, this could be something tied to like a DLC, like a different version. You know how we had different years of characters. If they say this is Royal Rumble version or something, or Mania version of Uso, but they have to have it where he's coming through the crowd, doing all that. That's, I mean, come on now. He clearly has a lot of fans and supporters. There's no doubt they're going to be playing as Jey Uso a lot, and that will complete the package. That entrance, it wasn't just a one-time thing and Mania, whatever. He's doing this all the time. This is his entrance. He is like Moxley coming through the crowd in AEW. This is him. This is what Jey Uso does now in WWE. So people are going to expect that in the game, and to see that not included, but yet we got Jacob Fatu and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I agree.
But go ahead.
Oh no, so I think those are some good thoughts. I would give a shout out to our boy Gary Swaby, because I'm pretty sure when this game comes out, he's going to be playing as Jey Uso. So shout out to Gary.
I didn't know. Yeah, shout out Gary. I didn't know you were a Uso fan.
Well, no. I mean, I don't know if Gary's going to get the game or not. He did mention to me earlier that he may actually consider getting a wrestling game, because he hasn't played those games in quite some time. But he obviously was impressed with what he saw. But we'll see about that. But my initial thoughts on some of the preview videos we saw today, I agree 100% that it looks good. The Jey Uso stuff, it's the exact same entrance, but obviously they updated the attire. They gave him the shades. So that's good. But I do agree with what you said. They need to have an entrance where he comes out of the crowd, because, I mean, I do applaud them for putting Jacob Fatu in there. And you have and I believe that is his updated entrance in there. I mean, from the last time I saw him on SmackDown. So I applaud them for that. It makes me curious to see who else is going to be in the game. And then, of course, we did see Rhea Ripley, some of the other wrestlers, some of their interests, stuff like that. We'll get into the features. But overall, I thought the gameplay looked good. I like the return of the chain wrestling, I guess. I didn't like the stuff we spoke about earlier. I didn't like that back and forth slapping, the whatever that was they had in the game last year. I didn't like any of that. So glad they brought that stuff back. They had the backstage stuff as well. Very interesting. Didn't really get into the match types too much, but there's a lot of news they need to reveal, and I'm hoping that obviously what I believe is going to happen is they obviously have a lot of different things they've planned out content-wise to talk about. So we'll probably get more details, but overall, what I saw so far, the game looks good. I will say this though, they definitely have a lot more they need to talk about. The roster, the DLC, the island, which we're going to get into here momentarily, all this stuff they need to talk about, and because you are obviously you're trying to sell other people, those who are already fans and had played WWE 2K games, they're going to buy this game 100%. But they need to, I think, really specify and say and show stuff like the island. This is not available in other versions of the game. So I feel like they definitely need to showcase that stuff to actually show you what is new for the game. And shout out to 2K if they ever hear this video. I would strongly recommend that you guys do a top 5 or top 10 newest features in this game video, because that will give people a full overview of what's new in the game. And I think that is needed from a video standpoint to show.
And real quick, I just want to chime in before we're going for the island. For those who are not sure what that is, if you're familiar with NBA 2K, the series, this is their version of the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So if you've played those games and you know it's like all the different multiplayer modes and all the different shops that you can buy microtransactions up the wazoo with the Jordan and all the stores and stuff, they're saying that that's going to be in the island. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting, but it's upsetting a lot of PC gamers because it's not going to be in a PC version, just like the city was not in the PC version for the NBA 2K25. So that's what that is. Just in case people weren't trying to figure out what the island is, if you don't play 2K basketball games, and it means nothing. But that's what that is.
Yeah, I agree. and pretty much, just like you said, let's go ahead and let's start going over the features, because I believe that's the first.
Yep, just pulled it up on the screen here.
So here it is. Their description. For the first time in franchise history, step outside the ropes and onto the island for PS5 and Xbox Series X. In this immersive WWE-themed world, complete quests, take on challengers, compete in live events, and upgrade and customize your My Superstar through multiple storyline chapters. Fight to join the original Tribal Chief Roman Reigns at the head of the table. So just like you said, yes, this is the city from NBA 2K. That obviously, and I will say this because I did play the city a couple of times, and I know my brother heavily played that. That is a way to, I guess, extend the life cycle of the game by offering, and then of course to monetize as well. And obviously, what I find interesting is they did not talk about any of the other stuff like My Faction yet for this upcoming game. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with this mode. But what I was saying earlier is they need to really be highlighting this mode since it is specific to the PS5 and Xbox Series X version of the game. So I would hope we're going to get some type of video for that soon.
Yeah, it's tricky with this one because I'm wondering how far they're going to go with it. Because from the 2K, the newest one, 2K25, awesome. I spent a lot of time in the city. My son also, he really liked it, mainly because it's massive. You start off with, you get like your skateboard, but you can get other vehicles because there's so much ground to cover to go from different locations. It's eventually you got a go-kart, and he was just go-karting around. So I don't know if the island is going to be that big, and also what brands are going to be there. In 2K, we have Jordan, we have Adidas, we have the official NBA store, which I'm sure will have official WWE shop. But there's other brands, and then we talked about it before, but I'm not sure if it's 100%. Go ahead, people, leave in the chats if you're familiar with this. Does WWE officially own now Tap Out? Because remember they were doing the whole promotion thing, or is that just like a tie-in? I'm just wondering because that could be other brands that they have in shops that are within on the island itself. And also, hopefully, they tightened up that multiplayer because that was always an issue. Trying to do rumbles and trying to do tag matches, we got the latency and all kinds of stuff causing problems. Never really a smooth experience. Meanwhile, on the NBA side, they got it down packed to a science.
Yeah.
You jump in, boom, 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 2-player, 3-player, jump in 5-on-5. It's all these different locations. You're on a pirate ship. You're in all these different sceneries and stuff like that. So it was really cool. So I'm assuming that the island's going to be something similar to that, where these rings are outside. Now, are we going to have a regular ring? Or are we going to have a cage in one area? It's like, oh, look, there's a cage. Are we going to see an elimination chamber off in the distance? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, you go over there, you wait on the spot, and poof, now you're in there. How is that going to work with the stats system? They're going to have to do a lot of changes because of, as you know, when we download characters in the community creation section, you can make people that are like 99. You know what I mean? Like you could really boost them up. And of course, when you go to play online, you can have it set that it's only superstars and not creations. And so, how does that play out in the city? On the island? Because the last thing you want, you enter in the chamber, it's like, oh yeah, it's anything goes, and you're going against dudes that are already maxed out, stats. And it's not going to be much fun, right? So they're going to really have to revamp because the way it works in the NBA one, you don't have full max out. You have to really grind for it or pay, and that's why people gripe about the VC and it's a pay to win type of thing. You got to put in all this money to build up stats, and it's or play matches. And I mean, it's by design on two fronts. They want you to play more, right? So they can't just give you all the stats. Like, oh yeah, play 15 matches, get 25 extra XP points or whatever for your character. They can't do that, right? They want the engagement. They want you to keep playing. But then if you do want to fast track it, then you pay for it. Now, WWE games have had that acceleration pack. That's been around for years. But they would have to change it up if they're going to really focus on doing all this multiplayer stuff on the island, like the way 2K has everything set up. And I'm assuming I'm doing a lot of comparison because I'm assuming that it's not just, oh, that's a popular mode. I'm assuming that it's also that team that's familiar with putting that together who's also working on this. So it's not like, yeah, go ahead, copy our mode. No, it's more like, all right, we are going to integrate our type of mode into your universe so that way it works. But you're going to have to format into our style of stats. So it's going to be interesting to see. And maybe that's the other reason why they haven't gone deep with it. Or even I really thought that when we first heard about this, that this was going to be the launching point. Like this is it. 2K25 is here. Get ready, for the island and then dive in. They didn't do that. But as you see here, it's the first thing on the feature page. So you're doing a showcase, you're getting media outlets like IGN and others to talk about it, but not this mode. Meanwhile, on your feature page, it is the first thing you see.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting. All the previews that came out today, not one person said they got a chance to check this out. So that's why I'm definitely curious to see what they do with this mode. I will give them credit and say it's a creative idea because this entire bloodline thing is in the game. So that is a smart way to create this type of other type of experience. But we definitely need to see how they execute on it. So hopefully they're going to release some type of videos and features, which I'm sure they're going to do because they always do that with NBA 2K. They always release stuff for the city and let you know about what's coming to the city. They let you know about that before it drops. So we're definitely going to learn more about this soon.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and someone, like we talked about, we play these games a lot, and one of my number one game, and I said also had 150, 160, some ridiculous amount of hours was my FC game. So FC 25 and stuff, and that's one of the things in our world that we were looking forward to. We're like, man, you're doing all these updates and stuff. That's great, but why can't you incorporate something like the city? And that city, if you have not played it, people, you really got to jump in. It's a different experience. It's a very I'm gonna here we go. I'm gonna throw an old one for you. It's very Second Life. Remember Second Life? There you go. I'm dating myself with that. If you know, you know. But it's like that. It's like here it is. You are living that other life in this world because there are stories. There is a campaign that's in the city, and I'm sure we're gonna see that here. So it's not just all multiplayer matches. It's a big part of it, but there is objectives and goals and dailies and all the stuff that you're accustomed to seeing in multiplayer games with a story, with different factions, that you can join up. And I'm sure they're going to sprinkle that around here. I really hope it's immersive and it pulls people in. But I don't know. Time will tell.
Oh no, I agree, and I also think they will work closely with WWE to, obviously, if there are certain things that appear on WWE television, like for example, Kevin Owens had that winged belt. They'll probably make that something that you can purchase in this mode as well. Stuff like that. They're going to be working closely with them.
Oh yeah. You're giving ideas now. Think about that. Like I mean, think about it. For fans of the series, one thing we always gripe about that the characters are not updated, right? They're not updated. Now, granted, this is for your creation, but if let's say, and again, I'm just speculating, what if there's certain items, like you said, like the double winged eagle belt, let's say that's here. Now you have to either use your in-game currency from playing, or you spend real money and you buy it. Now, do you have that to carry across into your creations, or is it only tied to your created star? You know what I mean? Like, if I have that belt, now is that now thrown into my creation center? I didn't have to create it. I have the official one. Yeah, you had to pay for it or do whatever, but now you have it and you can put it on anybody. You can put it back on Kevin Owens, and go through that whole thing. Granted, we know people are going to create it, but then who knows if this changes the community creation center? What if they scrap that and they like really focus heavy on this? That could flip out a lot of people. People are going to be so upset. It's like, what? Everything is monetized. I have to buy now all this stuff that usually before I can import images.
Well, hopefully, hopefully, this belt should be in the game already. You probably have to unlock it by having some type of match, but I definitely want to see what they're doing. I know Roman Reigns actually was supposed to release his own sneakers that he has with Jordan, so that is another item I do expect to be in the game in some capacity.
So you pre-ordered your pair. When's the schedule?
Oh no, I didn't pre-order nothing. I don't know when this is coming out. I know there was news that he has this thing coming out. It's not out yet, at least from what I understand. Maybe by the time this video is released, it might get announced. I have no idea.
Well, there you go. I think we could safely say that the Jordan store then would be on the island. I keep saying in the city because of the city, but it's on. It's going to be on island because it's in the city in the game. There is a Jordan store, and if they do have the type of partnership, they definitely have the partnership with 2K. So that's going to be there. It makes me wonder also if we could just see all the same stores because it's all about partnering with 2K, the publisher. So we could see an Adidas store. That was another store that's in there.
That is possible. That is possible. We'll have to wait and see, but hopefully we'll get more details on that soon.
All right, here we go.
But looking forward to it. So next up, obviously we saw a lot of this footage, the Bloodlines Dynasty. The quick description is the all-new showcase hosted by the wise man Paul Heyman celebrates one of the most iconic wrestling family dynasties, the Bloodline, featuring Roman Reigns, The Rock, Yokozuna, Jacob Fatu, and more. Relive historic showdowns or flip the script and change the outcome of select matchups. Plus, experience dream matches between members of the Bloodline and WWE superstars and legends. So the gameplay footage we saw today, we did see examples of this. We saw Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins back in 2022, and the fact that you could change the outcome of that match. Because I recall in that match, Roman Reigns got disqualified. And, shout outs to everybody in my group, our very good friend Ricky, Amani and Jackie. We all went to WrestleMania 35 in New York. But I was talking about this because they are huge Shield fans. And again, they always have this back and forth dialogue about Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. So clearly, that is a great idea that you can alter the matchups. They also have Nia Jax in her Queen of the Ring matchup with Lyra Valkyria, and the fact that you can now have Lyra win that match instead. So I did see some footage of this stuff earlier today. Obviously, I would like to see.
We saw real quick. We saw this teased in the last one, especially with John Cena. In that one, remember when in that showcase, the match versus Rob Van Dam. Obviously, you had to have Rob Van Dam win because that's how it happened. But if you won with Cena, there was a really long cutscene that followed afterwards. Remember, and he has the belt and he walks down the aisle. They went all out, so they had it planned. It wasn't like, oh, mission failed, try again, challenge failed. No, they went further, and people loved that because they're like, oh man, what would happen if that happened? That would be cool. So here we go.
Oh yeah, I agree. We need to see more of that. I know that they also, as we saw in the footage, they got rid of the actual footage that they showed during the matches. I guess that was something people complained about in the last game, how it would just transition to the actual footage. So I'm glad that they took the time to animate and put all that stuff into the game now. So it's just a straight through play session. The one thing I will say, though, about them objectives is that I noticed that now they are timed objectives. And that's something that, I don't know if that's going to frustrate some people.
That's what it's called, slingshot. When it would flip from the live action and then
that's it. But here's a question for you. Now, what do you think about the fact that some of these objectives are now timed? Because when I saw that, I said some people might get frustrated by that if they don't complete an objective by a certain amount of time. Obviously, that may impact you completing all the objectives and unlocking certain stuff in the matches. So what did you think about that?
I could see the pros and cons of it. The pros, let's say there's not many of them. And then it's like, all right, timed within the first 5 minutes, whatever, you got to hit a certain type of move. Well, then that means it gives you more freedom to have fun in the match. Instead of every part being told, oh, now do a light attack, heavy attack, throw him outside, ringside, throw him on the announce table. It's like, all right. It's like, it's a checklist. Each one got to go down. No. But at least with this, it sounds like you have more freedom. Like, hey, go ahead, have a match that you would normally have, but just make sure you have this, within 5 minutes, you have to hit this particular move, and then that one goes and then you get another one. But if you have a bunch of them, next, we're looking at like a Dead Rising situation, where it's like if you played the game, you got all these bars moving and timing. Oh, you're going to rescue this person over here. You got this other person to rescue over here. Hey, you got to go complete this. And if I have to do all this running around, it's not going to be fun, and I'm going to rage quit. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm done with this mode. Why? Because of the clock. And I don't want to deal with the clock.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's an option to turn that off, because I can imagine that will be frustrating for some people if they don't complete the stuff in a certain amount of time. But outside of that, I'm looking forward to it. I like the fact that it is about the entire bloodline, not just the storyline, but there's other, because we already know Yokozuna, they're all related to each other. So I like that. That's
in there. The Anoa'i family, yeah.
Exactly. So I look forward to that.
We got 3-minute warning. If you remember those dudes, they're coming back. That's in there. The head shrinkers, they're going to be in this. They're going deep. I mean, it's one of those situations, though. It's like, well, okay, we got all of them in here. How many people are going to actually play with them? If they're going to do some cool little Do we even know, before I even jump in, do you even know if they have like story mode back? Remember where you can create your own stories, shows, and stuff like that, but with story? We don't know yet. I don't think.
We don't know, but there's some other stuff on this list that it may hint towards that. But no, it's going to be interesting. I will say that much.
Yeah, it's definitely. But before I go, because I remember we were talking about the entrances and upset about the Jey Uso, and then I'm like 50-50 on the final boss intro. We saw that video because on the upside, I'm like, yo, this looks awesome, right? We got the light, it's got all the effects. They show the Brahma bull lit in fire, the top view, everything looks great. And then I'm like, looking at my watch, yo, how long is this? It's long.
That video was too long. I think it's about like 4 minutes. It's even longer than the Roman Reigns, because I saw the Roman Reigns entrance earlier. That's like a 2-minute entrance.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. This was just really long, and I get it. You want to pull all the stops, final boss, whole thing, but it's one of those cases where you're gonna watch it maybe 1 or 2 times, and then it's like, okay, skip. I've seen it. Exactly. It takes too long. It's just very long. It's just
It is. But yeah, just to add on the one quick thing before we go to the expanded gameplay, I did see some of the other entrances. I think the Naomi interest is that's pretty accurate, I guess. I thought that was okay. I saw they had
I missed the knee slides. I do miss the knee slides when she would do that. Remember, she would run out and slide.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah, I do remember that. I know she got a huge ovation here when she had the matches, on Raw and NXT last week. So glad they have her in there.
She's come a long way. Funky pterodactyl. Remember the funkadactyls or whatever?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Definitely came a long way. So shout outs to her. And I also saw the entrance for Ethan Page and Kalani Jordan. So I'm glad that they have confirmed that those 2 characters are in the game, at least from what I have seen on the roster, not DLC. Ethan Page interest looks great. Kalani Jordan also. So glad to see it. So we'll see where they go from here. So going on to the next feature, and this is just we already spoke about this briefly. The expanded gameplay. Okay. Intergender wrestling makes its long-awaited debut in WWE 2K franchise. Pit WWE or player-created superstars from the men's and women's division against each other to set up countless matchups across multiple modes. Additional features include the return of chain wrestling. We spoke about that briefly. Underground and bloodline rules match types, and barricade diving. So that now, once again, the bloodline rules match types. Nobody spoke about that at all in any of the preview builds, any of the preview footage I've seen earlier today. So my assumption is that that's another thing that we'll hear more details about later. We did see some stuff with Underground, but from what I understand, they are going to talk about that because some people did play that, but I think it's under an embargo, so we probably won't hear any details about that until maybe next week or some other time later. But I look forward to seeing more of that. We did see some footage of it. And it pretty much is just a wrestling match inside a ring with no ropes on it. You're throwing people outside, like pretty much a lumberjack match, kind of like.
I'm very skeptical about that match because there's even one scene where you see the guy wobbling like he's at the edge, and it's similar to the animation when they're on top of Hell in the Cell.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm like, but like you said, it's just the ring without the ropes. And if you remember the Underground match when they did this on Raw years back when Shane McMahon was pulling this off, it was like in a basement somewhere. That's what they were trying to go for. People walking around with drinks and stuff. They were trying to make it seem like it was very underground, back alley type of situation, which is weird since it's being televised on live TV, but still, it just had a different look. And that's what I thought this was going to be. And it doesn't have that. It's just like you said, it's a ring with no ropes in the arena. It's not a new location. So
no, I agree 100%. Need to see more and learn more. The bloodline rules, obviously, I want to see that also. But one thing I will say about the Underground match, and if 2K is listening, hopefully they have this plan. when they provide more details about that match, they definitely need to have Lola Vice as one of the people that the person is playing as, because that is when they revealed her, the images of her in the game. I mean, she had a match not too long ago on NXT, in which that's like one of her signature matches. So I would say they better feature her when they show that footage. Maybe it'll be in the gameplay trailer we'll see tomorrow. I have no idea, but that's some advice to them. As for the intergender wrestling, we saw a lot of that footage also today. I saw Dominic Mysterio getting beat up by both Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, so that looked kind of comical. I don't know how often I would play that particular mode, but I mean, I'm glad it's there, I guess, for those that are interested in that.
I know for a long time people were skeptical, like, oh, they'll never do it, never do it. I'm like, but why? I mean, we play Street Fighter and Tekken, we play fighting games, and there's intergender in all of these fighting games. And technically, this is a fighting game. So when people are like, oh, they can't do that. Why? Well, if guys beating up on girls, well, I'm sorry, we've had that for years in other games with no issue. This is not a big deal. I think it's fine. How often? I don't know, but it might be fun if you want to recreate certain things that are happening. Let's say Rhea Ripley going against somebody. I don't know, throw something crazy. The Rhea Ripley versus CM Punk, and just play that out. Those type of things.
And I'm not sure if you saw, but also now the women can bleed as well this time, because I saw that in the footage too. So. Yeah. So they're making it, just as brutal as it was in the last game. That's cool. So
then again, that's something that has to be turned on. It's not on by default. So if anyone, before they go up in arms, just from a quick image, you're like, oh, look at this. Now they because then someone's gonna do it, where they're gonna show like some guy just wailing on with a kendo stick on somebody, on a female wrestler, and blood everywhere. It's like, look what they're doing in games. That type of thing. It's like, well, you turned on the blood, and who knows? But there might be an option to turn off intergender.
Oh yeah, there is. I think I heard that there is an option. So
there you go. There you go.
But there will be some people angry. So, but I'm totally fine. But I like I said, I won't be using the mode that often. Definitely going to focus in on other type of matches, but we'll see.
Do you remember the name of that tournament that they did, the intergender one? I remember Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman were
was that like the mixed tag?
Mixed tag challenge. That's what it was called. There you go. Maybe they should add that. Throw that mode in there. You might as well, now that you have this, because then you could spice it up a little bit, because now they can actually fight. But then, man, imagine that Alexa Bliss fighting like, I don't know, Demon Priest or something like that.
I think that match type will be in there, because even in the last game they still had the male and female tag partners as an option when you go through you're editing the roster. So that probably is going to make a return, I think. We'll have to wait and see.
You just brought up an idea, something that I was hoping for. Before I forget, it's just a feature that I've been asking for a long time. I don't think we've seen the interface yet, right? We haven't seen the interface. When we do character select, when you do select a wrestler, we don't have a tag team option, a tag team mode. We have lightweight, heavyweight, all that stuff. But it'd be great if there was one that's just tag team, so that way you don't have to scroll through to select one and then scroll all the way through, because it's alphabetical to select their tag partner. It would be great if they were just already there, because I know you ask people like, well, when you select one, it'll make a suggestion when you go to tag for their tag partner because of the behind the scenes setup. But if I create a tag team, let's say we go to the creation center, we pair up two people, we put it in, then it should be an option. It should be a tab of all the tag teams. So it's just quick access, click, boom, boom, they're there. I don't have to select each one. I remember a while ago, Authors of Pain, they didn't have that, and you had to go through each, scroll through to assign both members of the team to play as a tag team. So I hope they add that. I hope they add something like that. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. All right, so this other feature here, now I will say this, because obviously, like I said earlier, the My GM mode, I spent a lot of time with that particular mode in 2K24 and the previous game as soon as they brought it back. So I'm looking forward to this here because I want to see how well it works. But yes, my GM mode goes worldwide. Take your show on the road and challenge friends worldwide in the enhanced My GM for 2K25. Now with online multiplayer for up to 4 players, draft WWE superstars and legends to your weekly shows roster and lead your brand multiple week seasons with a bigger selection of general managers, cross-brand PLEs, and more. So the whole fun element of this particular mode is competing. Well, in the previous game, it was competing against the AI to see who has the best ratings and ultimately wins the award at the end of the season. So this could be very interesting, I think, being able to play against others, because that's the one thing that people wanted since they brought this mode back, which is why can't I play with other friends? So glad that they finally added this. We'll see how that is.
Was Tyler Breeze a GM?
Yes, he was.
He was, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they made Xavier Woods a GM as well. The only issue with the mode, obviously, it was out of date last year. We didn't have, Adam Pearce was in the game, but we didn't have the current GM of SmackDown. Can't think of his name for some reason right now.
Who knows? The British dude.
Yes, Mickey James' husband. I can't think of his name right now. But
Aldis.
Yeah, that's it. Nick Aldis. Yeah.
Nick Aldis.
He wasn't in the game as a GM in the last game. They still had Teddy Long in there as a option that you can have for GM. So I'm glad they're going to update that, because
hey, who knows? Maybe we'll get Fandango. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, Fandango.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. You can use your custom wrestler as a GM as well. So that's a good option. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they do with that mode. So stay tuned for that. They got to show us more details.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I mean, I didn't really spend much time in this mode. You definitely did. Like, how would the online work? So what, you pick your settings and then they pick theirs and then it just simulates in real time?
Well, the way they set it up with 2K24 is you can play with the AI, or you can just have all like a couch co-op type of thing where you can play with other people. If they're coming over to your house to play, then they can choose, and pretty much how you set it up is you choose whatever show you want to run along with your general manager. And then after you've done that, pretty much on a week-to-week basis, you schedule your matches, your card. And then, pretty much you'll see the results of every match. You'll see how many stars it gets. You're handling the revenue as far as because in the beginning they have a draft to start it. You draft whatever superstars you want to draft, and they have recommendations telling you who will be a good person to draft based on the class that they are, whether they're like a bruiser or a fighter, or if they're a fan favorite or a rule breaker. All this stuff is the way they've got it together is very well put together. But pretty much after you draft all your superstars and you have your show, every single match, you can simulate it or you can play it. You'll get ratings on how many stars a certain match gets, and then by the end of that week, they'll do a recap of which show had the most increase in terms of fans, so on and so forth. So it's a very well put together mode. I look forward to seeing though how this works online, because that was the only thing missing. I thought now that I can play against others online, it should be a lot of fun for sure.
All right.
Yeah. So next up, universe mode. Okay, your universe, your way. Okay, WWE 2K sandbox mode receives new upgrades to give players even greater control over their universe experience, including the long-awaited return of promos. The new system includes multiple promo types and outcomes with new cutscenes and branching choices. Okay, so as far as this is concerned, I'm glad to see the promos return. I don't believe it's going to be revolutionary, because when they had the stuff last time, there was no, it's still all text. You don't have the wrestlers actually recording, their voices are being recorded for any of the stuff. So, I mean, I don't know to what extent they're going to do with the promos. One thing I will say though, one thing people have been asking for is some type of story designer mode, and I don't think that. Unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to see that anytime soon. At least not.
They've had one before. That was the thing. They've had one before where you can have all the dialogue. I remember playing one that someone created for ECW, and they just had all the dialogue for everybody. It was really cool. And even this, when I saw this update, I'm like, oh, then the first thing that came to my mind, and it doesn't look like it's even an option, is that you can add your own. Like it was like multiple dialogue choices. Oh, you get to select something. Well, can I create my own? Can I come up with like my own catchphrase or something? My own little comebacks that I can, like when John Cena was like, "Oh, here, hold these what nuts," and he would throw a bag of peanuts or something. Can I say? Can I throw something? Can I throw something like that and create it? That way, it just makes it my own. Granted, this is not online. This is universe mode. It's yourself. You're just playing against the AI, but still, it's for you. You want to have some fun with it. So it's always going to be tricky with this because just like anything with dialogue choices, it's going to repeat. It's going to get repetitive over time, and you're just going to end up skipping past it. It's going to be like, all right, let's just fast forward through this.
Oh, no, I agree 100%. Maybe they will find a way to bring it back in the future. But this is something that I definitely expect them to show us more of soon, because again, this isn't anything that was in any of the previews that were released either. So like I said, they have quite a bit of things they need to show us and really give us more details on.
Yeah, people, if you're interested, please leave a message or anything in the comments, because I don't know anyone that was really excited for the first go around of promos with the text. So it's like, I'm glad they're working on it. I mean, that's how you make things better. So thanks for working on it.
And I do want to see what other cutscenes they have. I feel like I've seen every cutscene when I'm doing a feud in universe mode. So I do want to see what new cutscenes they have added to the game, because I felt like they've added as much as they could add. But very curious to see.
It could be tied to specific wrestlers. That's what I'm assuming. Certain things that they've done, So here we go.
And now we have here your mode, My Rise,
yes.
a unified My Rise. Take control of your custom superstar from the women's or men's division in a singular multi-gender My Rise storyline, where Bayley, Kevin Owens, and other superstars infiltrate NXT in an attempt to take control of the entire WWE universe. Very interesting. Featuring new brawl environments, unlockable arenas, characters, and more, plus new ally storylines involving Jey Uso, Bianca Belair, Seth freaking Rollins, and other WWE superstars.
Yeah, it's fun. In the recent years, we have voice work, so it's not just text when it comes to these. You're going to hear these voices. Hopefully that carries over. I don't see why not, with all these superstars in it. So it's like, all right, everyone's talking. You even have some of the AI people talk to you, and same thing, dialogue choices. Pick what you want to say, what you want to do. Hey, it'd be great if you had a hardcore match in this one. You select, do you want to do it or not? It's fun. It's fun. This is a career mode. Or your created character. Oh, also, if I remember right, it was weird. I remember I picked I changed I think I picked Bronson Reed, but I changed the setting, the weight class. That was it. It was Bronson Reed I selected, but then I selected for like a cruiserweight, and it looked like him, but all like skinny. Shrunken down. It looks weird, but it was his face. It was weird. But anyway, you could have some real fun with this. So I enjoyed it. People will say, "Oh, well, what are you doing?" Well, it's a story mode. There's different things. You're going to get thrown in table matches. You're going to have different pay-per-view events that you're going to jump in. You may jump from different shows. It's a lot going on. They always incorporate this whole system where you're looking at your cell phone and see social media and what people are talking and saying about you, and it's interesting. It doesn't pull me too much into it, but I do like the gameplay. I do like finding out what's going on with the story and how things change up when this match go here, lose this match, go there. So it's fun.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't get a chance to play too much of it in the last game, but what I did play, I did appreciate it for what they tried to do. So I will definitely give this a chance. to see. I like the idea of the other wrestlers invading NXT, so that sounds interesting. But
Now,
yeah.
they did this before where there are certain arenas and stuff that could only be unlocked in my rise.
Hmm.
And before it was split, there was some that were for the ladies, and then of course with the men. But it sounds like here it's all together, so maybe you'll be switching back and forth depending on what you want to do. So you don't have to start over. But either way, it looks like you're still going to have to play through these modes. So there could be, I don't know, you could be watching some content creator playing in some crazy looking arena. You're like, oh man, how did they get that? Where did he do that? Well, you got to get through like halfway through the story mode of My Rise to unlock it, you know? So that's another way that it's going to pull people to get it, especially if those arenas or backstage areas or brawl areas, as they're going, if they're cool and you want to play them. Sounds
Exactly.
fun.
Okay, and next feature is a roster for the ages. Okay, WWE 2K brings you an unparalleled lineup of current superstars from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, plus legends and WWE Hall of Famers. The stacked roster of over 300 playable characters spans multiple generations and features Seth Rollins, The Undertaker, The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, and more. So let me just say this. This all sounds good to me. Like I said earlier, I'm glad to see that Jacob Fatu is in the game on the roster. I'm glad to see that Ethan Page is in the game on the roster. But I have questions about the DLC because they haven't announced any of that stuff yet. And there is some details in when I get into the additions, which I'll talk about briefly at the end. But ultimately, there's a lot of people that I would like to know, are they going to be in this game? And let me start off by saying this, and I'm going to ask you this question. I will ask the people who decide to comment and watch this video. Do you think we're going to get Penta in the game?
He has to be DLC. I don't think he's day one in the game, not with Jey Uso, you know. But this is where you got to really read between the lines. 300 playable characters. Okay, they're not saying 300 within the game. So
yes,
there's going to be a lot of these that will be DLC. And this has always been our gripe that when it comes to these DLCs, sometimes these are characters that previously were just in the base game. We saw that with the last round of WCW guys, and where a lot of those were in the base game in the prior release in 2K23. And it's like, oh, wait, why are they now behind a paywall pretty much in a DLC? They're not really new. They were here before.
Exactly. And I know that obviously, I don't know if it was the last game or the one prior to that, there were a lot of WWE cuts. So you understood why they held certain wrestlers to the DLC because they couldn't have other people in there. But I will say this, I am very curious to find out about this information. And I think in the future, once they announce all of the DLC, we definitely will respond to that because I do think that Penta can show up as DLC, but that'll probably be at a much later time, like maybe the final, whatever the second to last pack that we're going to get sometime later this year. But as for everybody else, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think we'll see Penta. I think that the Motor City machines will be in there as well because they debuted at a time when they could get added to the game, but that's probably definitely going to be DLC because they came later in the later portion of last year. So
and also we have to consider that when they say the 300 playable characters, they're not just saying playable superstars. So we could see doubles. And we've seen this before when we saw the all the different versions of Bray Wyatt. Those all count. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's like the same thing with CM Punk. We saw the whole Punk pack. There's a bunch of different versions of Punk and other things like that. So I wonder if we're going to see more of that when it comes to these DLC packs that let's say, or for example, we see there's all this hype now that doing the Undertaker. It's like, all right, well, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these DLC packs is just the many different versions of the Undertaker. You know, we got the American Badass and the cult version, Ministry of Darkness, all that. What if they do something like that? So it's like it's a DLC. Yeah, you're getting 4 or 5 characters, but it's of the same superstar. You know, and like I said, we've seen it before. They've done this, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's it, or if they started incorporating more of the Mattel Elite version figures, because that was very popular. A lot of people like that. We had the Cody and Hulk Hogan, and I think there was who else? Rhea Ripley was also one of them, but that was in my faction and a whole big thing. But I could
Oh
see some
yeah.
of that. I could see some of that carrying over if they included. It's just,
And,
yeah.
and you mentioned the action figure versions of the wrestlers. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you
Yeah, the
yeah.
Mattel Elites. That's what, because you know, as it, for those knowing, you saw me on camera. I do have quite a few of them. I am a collector, so I'm very familiar with this branding here, and it's thrilled. I was thrilled to see them in here. It's fun. It's a cool look.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We'll definitely see that. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing what's in what you said is correct. They say you to read between the lines about the playable characters. There will definitely be multiple versions of the Undertaker, Roman Reigns, so on and so forth. So stay tuned for that. Okay, the next one is the arenas. Travel up the card while you travel the world. WWE 2K gives you access to many popular rings from your favorite WWE events. The only question I have, will the Netflix arena be in this the Netflix Raw show and arena be in this game?
yes,
That needs to
has to
be in
be.
the game.
Has
Yes,
to
that
be.
has to be there.
Has to
Yeah.
be with the partnership. Now, the real question is, will all the ads be on the mat? Okay, that's the question right there. Are we going to see all of them? Are they going to go day one Netflix and throw a big Fortnite ad right in the middle? I doubt that. But
No.
their long term partners like Snickers and stuff, and Cricket, maybe I could see that.
And definitely Prime, because we
Oh yeah,
saw
yeah.
they had
Prime,
the
yeah.
Prime bottles, the Prime that you can use it as a weapon. So that'll be in there. But this is what I will say. I hope it is in there because like I said, I went back to WWE 2K24 as recent as last week, and somebody has already created the Netflix arena and they have it in there already. It looks fantastic. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, listen, I know 2K can do this. I just don't want them to take forever to do this. Like with the WrestleMania arena we got last time and how long it took for us to get access to that when it was made. They're probably going to do the same thing for WrestleMania this year. That arena will be in the game at some point. But for this here, I hope it's in there because, the game is not out until March. I think they can make it happen. Maybe not at launch, but sometime after. When they have an update, they can just say, okay, now the Raw Netflix arena is in there, but we'll have to wait and see.
It's like every time I see this, I'm like, man, we've seen every arena. Go ahead, people, leave in the comments if there's one that's missing that you're like, oh, but I need this one. I remember the Royal Rumble back in the New York one where it had the taxi cab entrance, and I was waiting for that, and that eventually made it in. So I don't know. I don't know. We had the Hammerstein Ballroom that made it in. It's tricky with all this. So, but I'm glad that they're adding them. So, and I
Absolutely.
think that's it. That's it. And here's the credits. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
There we go. But there's some other little features, and one that we could bring up that's not discussed here. That third person camera mode.
Yes. Yes.
Click of a button throws you into third person, and they showed you can move it around with the right stick, and that sounds great and all for the entrances and stuff. But then they were showing like, oh, you could do this during gameplay. That doesn't sound practical. Like I just can't see myself playing like that. Like I don't know. Which also brings back the question that we were talking about before this was released. So guys and gals listening, do you remember when we saw that weird trailer, that video that popped up online? It showed Sami Zayn with the chair. It's like, who is he gonna hit?
Oh
And
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like back and forth, and we're like, oh man, is this WWE? And you mentioned they liked it, but no one fessed up, on this. And I'm starting to think it was them, and this was them teasing, because they said we saw before that there's going to be alternate paths, alternate things
Yes.
going on in Showcase. I could clearly see that was in that third person view.
I
So
think I think that's a good guess because around the same time They were teasing other details about the game. They were doing these videos online where a wrestler would talk about something, then another wrestler would interrupt and say, "Hey, you can't talk about that yet." So I think that is a high possibility. Again, they haven't showed us too much of that bloodline mode yet. So maybe we'll get some details about that in the gameplay trailer that they drop tomorrow. But overall, yeah, there's a lot of things to look forward to. We still have a lot of questions, a lot of things we need to get answers
My
on.
faction, is that coming back? Is that dead in the water?
Well, that's a great question. It wasn't on that list, so I don't know. It was
not on that list, and that was something they heavily pumped last year. So did it not hit expectations? I mean, the community could tell you very loudly, yes, it did not. It was too much grinding. 2K, if you guys are listening, I get it. You want people to play, but there was a simple way. And it's just give goals, have these trees and these monthly goals, whatever, for certain characters or variants, or even Mattel Elites variants, and just make it that they're obtainable by playing within the mode. You want engagement, then people need something to reach for. And if you start putting it where it's like, oh, you got to pay X amount for VC, and then do this and that, and then it's like a weird tree structure. Grab this, but once you do that, that unlocks another option to do it. But then you still have to grab another. It gets very pricey. Remember, there was one. It was like, was it Becky Lynch? And somebody said it cost them like $75 total of just trying to get everything needed to unlock the one character. That may work for the whales, the ones that need to collect everything and do all that. But for the casuals, they're not going to do that. It could be fans. They'll be willing to spend time playing the product, which is what you want in the mode. But to go and say they have to do all these other things, it's just too much. So my suggestion is just put a goal, something that you could obtain, whether do a bunch of matches and stuff, or maybe they are timed, so it's a window. I do play a lot of Ultimate Team in FC, so I am a fan of these type of card-based gameplay modes, and I spend time in there doing that just so I can unlock certain characters and put on my team. So it's the same thing. If they can do that, then it can be interesting. But I feel like they're so focused on monetization and just trying to pull in that money that it takes the fun out of it. And then from what we've seen, the end result isn't satisfying. Like, remember, they did their own version of Final Boss, and he was just The Rock coming out in sweatpants. He looks nothing like what we're getting now in this version, which is what a lot of people assumed it would be. Special entrance and stuff. And then even when you do get those, you can't even modify them. Remember, they were all locked. Assembly had one of them or something. It's like, look, it's all locked. This is like crazy. I did all this work. I spent all this money on VC, and I can't even modify the color of his pants, his trunks, or anything. And who knows? We could be griping about this, and it could be completely gone.
Well, or they can find a way to incorporate it into this island thing. The island definitely is going to be what they're going to try to use to keep people playing this game. And of course, the MyGM, and I again, like, as I said earlier, I am a MyGM fan, so I will be playing that mode extensively. But I'm very curious to see what they do with this island thing, because I think that is going to be what they're going to use. And again, it is a creative idea. Since the Bloodline has such a huge presence in the game, it's a great idea to actually make something of this island thing. So I do want to see where they take that. So one last little quick thing I want to talk about very briefly before we wrap up. Obviously, they did announce the additions of the game. That news came it came around the same time as the cover reveal. So obviously, I'm just going to do a quick reading of what you can expect. Of course, the standard edition, Roman Reigns is on that cover. One thing that people can look forward to, if they did pre-order, they will get access to the Wyatt 6-pack, which features all those characters which haven't been on TV in quite a while. So there you go. If you're a fan of the Wyatts.
So you think Alexa Bliss? I mean, I'm pretty sure she's going to be part of the group, but do you think she's going to be in the game?
That's a great question. Now, I do think that she can come back to the game. She was in the last game. They can, obviously, they want to, do an updated model. So she might be DLC, since she just literally came back this past weekend. But yeah, she should be in the game. I have no doubt about that, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, but that's the main thing with the standard edition. Of course, that's $69.99, of course. So that is an option, and that will launch on March 14th. Now, if you do decide that you want to get any of these other digital editions, such as the Dead Man edition or the Bloodline edition, you will get access to the game 7 days earlier, which means that'll be around March 7th. Now, let me talk briefly about the Dead Man edition. That does include the standard edition. It includes the Wyatt 6-pack and the Dead Man edition bonus pack, which includes, and here we go, this is your favorite thing, Mattel Elite Greatest Hits Undertaker.
Okay.
And the original Undertaker 1990 Persona card and playable superstars. Usable.
This Persona card.
Yes, there you go. Yep.
All right, so then that is my faction.
So my faction is still in the game. That's correct.
I guess, yeah, because that was their whole thing. The Persona cards were cards that were ones that you can unlock. So you would see the Persona card, and once you get into it, those are the ones that you can upgrade to get them out.
Yeah, because it mentions the playable superstars.
Yeah. So that's what they're giving you. They're giving you that part, and then now you have to keep playing to upgrade that person. So you can actually upgrade that card also, get them out. But all right, keep going.
And then in addition to that, and this gives kind of clues. So you get that original, like I said, you get that Persona card with the playable superstars. You get a usable earn object. You get Undertaker 95 mass cosmetic item for the island. And you get the Brother Love manager plus the season pass, which includes 5 DLC packs and 15,000 VC. So Brother Love, I guess, is also going to be in the game. So that's a confirmation there. Very interesting. Okay, and that actually costs $100. That's the digital only. So that's an option. And then finally, the Bloodline edition, which is obviously, we all saw that cover art. And I will admit, when I saw that cover for Bloodline edition, I said, this has to be fake. And then I saw the logo. I said, oh, it is real. It's very interesting, because I didn't think that 2K was going to put Jacob Fatu in the game or any of these other characters. But that's very cool. So I got to give them credit. But basically, this edition, and again, more clues. All right. It comes with, again, the standard edition, all the content in the standard edition and all the content in the Dead Man edition. But it also has.
I just want to make some quick things. Just think about this. You're Jacob Fatu. Just a year ago, you were in MLW. And then this year, you're not just in the WWE and in a heavy storyline, but you're on the front cover of the video game. That's mind blowing. That's like, he's definitely having a good 2 years here.
Oh, absolutely. Now this is. Now again, we will revisit this stuff later once we have a chance to check it out. But this edition of the game, there's some stuff in here very interesting, confusing. So this edition includes Ringside Pass, which is a season pass plus a superstar mega boost. Mega boost. Is that so? I guess that's kind of like the accelerator.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Because that was one of the things that. Could have swore you got that with the other versions too. At least the $100 one. I could be wrong, but yeah, there was an accelerator.
Well, this isn't listed for that Dead Man edition. This is specific for this edition. Aside from that, they have The Rock. What say what?
I was just thinking, because the other one obviously didn't have the island, so it was for My Rise. It was like for creating your character and giving you a boost in My Career. The stats. Now, then there was the one that would just unlock all the stats for all the wrestlers. That's how you can get like stats, makeup created people that were like 99 and all that. Remember, you had to pay for that, or you can just play and grind them out. But the fast and easy and what a lot of people did was they would just pay for that, and that way they can just put whatever stats they wanted on their created wrestlers.
And then they go online, and then it's hard to beat them because they're so maxed out. That's what they were doing. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, in addition to all that, it also comes with the Rock Nation of Domination pack. So we can make a guess as to who will be in that pack. I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, D'Lo and Farouk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it also comes with Bloodline Edition pack. It has the Mattel Elite Series 114 Jey Uso and Mattel Elite Greatest Hits Roman Reigns Persona cards and playable superstars. And then then they have a couple of other cosmetic items. We had the Yeet sunglasses, the Yeet tank top, etc. But this is the interesting thing here. And of course, you get the VC. You get 32,500 VC. So obviously more VC. But here's the other thing that I find interesting. This particular edition, and now again, this is only for the Bloodline edition. It includes the WrestleMania 41 pack, which features the WrestleMania 41 arena, 2 WrestleMania 41 main event superstar persona cards and playable superstars, and a new superstar persona card to be announced. Very interesting. And will be available sometime in the summer. But this edition, again, it also comes out on March 7th, and it cost a whopping $129. $129.99.
I don't know. Again, we don't know the engagement for the My Faction, so I don't know how much of that people are going to care with the Persona cards, but whatever. But it does have packs. I mean, the Nation Domination, right? If you're interested in that and you want to play with all of those guys, especially the older versions, I'm sure they'll have their theme song. We are the nation. And, they have to, right?
Well, yeah,
it has to do all that,
That's probably a part of this Bloodline storyline. The Rock will have some matches in there too, like Nia Jax has matches and Roman. Yeah, that's probably a part of it. So
part of it. So it's hard to tell because it's one of those things where it's gonna vary depending on people's interest in these characters. Because it's a lot of character packs, and if you don't care about all of, let's say you're just into CM Punk, we didn't see any mention of CM Punk on this, so no one's going to care about that. But Jey Uso's very hot right now, and like you said, got the Yeet glasses and shirt and all that stuff. That might be enough. That might be enough just to pull them in. It'd be cool if they did. They won't do. I would have been thrilled if they ever did this. Add the superfan Vlad. Remember the superfan Vlad? Remember we were always there with the glasses and stuff? I want to see him in the front row. Add him, and that I can walk up to him and he can give me a weapon or something. I think that would be cool. Put him in the game, do something. I don't know. I feel like it's always about nostalgia and going back into different things and adding elements or rings and stuff. He was a fixture and a lot of that from the 80s all the way on, till COVID and all that stuff. But he was always there, front row, hard cam shot. You could not mistake him with his glasses and stuff. I'm just saying, put Vlad in the game.
Yeah, maybe.
But back to the question with the pricing, if you want the total package, I would usually say, yeah, this is it. But as we know, this is not the total package. Because then they always sprinkle in another pack after the fact. We saw it with the Bad Bunny, right? We saw it with the Bray Wyatt. Like with this one, remember there was another Bray Wyatt one that was separate outside of the pack.
Yeah, yep.
It's like
that was the paid, paid costume. Yeah.
Now they didn't say that that's happening this go around, but come on, 2K. That's kind of low, especially when someone's paying $120. You're thinking, I got everything. This is it, right? I got everything. And then you drop something after the fact. It feels misleading. So I hope that isn't something that happens this go around.
Well, yeah, I hopefully not. I think really what they need to do is they need to announce, and I'm pretty sure they will know about this before the game comes out. They'll announce what all they have planned for this DLC. They know, I'm pretty sure they know what people want in terms of DLC. But the real question we have to ask is how many of those people that we saw or think are going to be in the game are going to be DLC. Like I said, Penta, he may be DLC, but it will not be until we won't see him until later this year, if at all. Motor City Machine Guns 1000% going to be DLC because they came late. But outside of that, I have no idea who else. I just hope that the people that are DLC, it makes sense that they are DLC, and let's not put someone in here that's been with the company for over a year and a half. Then I would be a little upset about that. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's gonna be true, and we're gonna see plenty of people put together videos just listing all the actually new wrestlers or new characters that are in the game. Because that's the thing. Yeah, we can have 300, whatever, but if a lot of them are just repeats from other versions, then how many new? And like you said, Motor City, Penta, we're assuming are going to be DLC. Then they're not really in the game yet.
Yeah,
and that makes you wonder how many new entries are we going to get? Are they all going to be NXT people? Is that it? Because how many new faces are on the main roster?
That's a good question.
Well,
we'll find out soon.
All I hope is that, which I'm assuming that because they didn't take it out of the other ones, we have Aleister Black's entrance where he's rising up, like in a casket thing. Because as soon as he comes back, I'm hoping the man comes back. Then I can create him, and there you go. His moveset's already in the game. Yeah. We had the entrance with the candles all lined up and stuff. So,
hopefully a lot of that stuff is still in there. I'm sure that we'll also see Andrade. Andrade will be in there. He should already be on the roster because
yeah. So speaking of Andrade, because I do have a lot of this is my favorite Andrade. If you can see, this is my AEW Andrade. I love this. Now he does dress like this in WWE, but not to this detail, like the pinstripe suit and that. I loved it, and I really wish he would use this persona when he comes down. But Andrade definitely is going to be in the game. He's been back long enough.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't. It's going to be interesting to see what they list as DLC, and hopefully they don't upset people.
Well, like I said, when they make that announcement, we definitely will be giving our reaction to that.
Yep. And for a gimmick match, because they got to sprinkle in some new gimmick matches. My prediction is
because that's game, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm thinking Buried Alive or the brawl that they had with the last brawl that Undertaker had with AJ Styles.
Yes. Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah. Because that's already in the backstage.
Yeah, those areas.
Thing. So
those brawl areas. That's
it's perfectly set up where they can make that a match. That's and that maybe is a way why they did that backstage thing so they could have multiple matches. I also saw the NXT outside the NXT parking lot, which looks great. So there are a lot of options. I think they have a lot of options at their disposal.
Here's something else. There's some food for thought for this one. So WWE owns Goldust, the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they own the character. So what's stopping them from putting Goldust in the game? Nothing, right? Because Dustin doesn't have to be there. He's in AEW, but he's not Goldust. So they could, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, right? You hear me?
Yeah, froze for a second.
It froze for a second? Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no, you're good.
That's it. That's the internet telling us we're running long. That's what's going on. They're like, bro, cut. We said an hour. Look at this. This is going over an hour. But real quick, because I'm just thinking of bringing it back to this game. This one about all these brawl areas. I'm not calling them backstage brawl areas. What if they did a showcase brawl area where it's Piper versus Goldust? Remember that whole thing?
I do remember that.
In the backstage, and you could get in the car and run. That would be really interesting to do. I don't know if they would do it, but if they own Goldust the name, they technically could do that.
That's an excellent idea. I certainly would like to see that, to relive some of those things that happened in the past with other matchups. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to do it. I guess if Dustin decided to return to WWE, then I guess they could do it. I don't know how that would work with the royalties, so on and so forth. But
because I remember he before said he had no rights to any of that stuff. Remember that was none of that.
Yeah.
He had no rights. It was all WWE, and he could never use it. Remember that's why he used it. He was platinum in WCW, and they did that and that didn't work out. Trying to play off of the Goldust thing. So I don't know. It was just an idea. It's just something out there. Because then they do have Cody, and then they could do like the Stardust and Cody. Remember when they were a tag team?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
could technically put him in. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
All right. But it's going late. But thanks again, everybody. Go ahead, Rich. Do the closeouts.
Oh yeah, no, thank you, thank you everybody for checking out the video, showing support. Like I said, we will be covering more WWE 2K25, and there's a plenty of other things that we will be covering that I can't really talk about right at the moment. But stay tuned. If you did like this conversation, leave a comment. Let us know if you're looking forward to the game and what aspect of WWE 2K25 you would like to see us cover on the channel. But thank you all for your support. We hope you have a great evening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah. And one of the other, in closing, also to piggyback off of that, we do a lot of reviews, you guys know, over at the Koalition.com. And one of the ideas we have is that after we do a review, we post it up, and then we'll come back here and do a little discussion just to share our thoughts and explain our decisions of what we thought of the game. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We'll do something
Definitely
on this as well. All right, everybody. Have a good week.